We didn't make a program this year.
Yeah, it's okay. We made a conscious decision, or I thought we made a conscious decision to do that.
Okay,
Because only the people north of Highway 60 give a fuck about your program.
Right.
Right. We have this debate every year.
Yeah. No one gave a shit about my app either.
I heard a lot of positive about your app.
Do you have an app? Is there an app this
Not
year?
anymore.
All right, cancel it. You want an app? Cancel it.
Well, let's put a whole bunch of money into it first.
I didn't realize it was getting canceled, and I thought it was happening.
No, it was getting no views.
How do you know that?
I mean, you can track this stuff.
How are we doing on coaster views? Do you know about that?
That's a good question.
Like the QR codes on the coasters?
Yeah.
Can you track that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we got. We got a trackable QR.
Oh.
Why did we want to track it? Huh. Beaver Dam's got a lot of clicks.
Yeah.
Then what?
You can check your hotspots and focus on the hotspots.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who has control of that?
Dave Hawk is in there somewhere.
Becca too.
Okay. Are they the same? It's the same QR for both?
No, it was two separate ones. And so they're trackable. So they were going to be trackable like geographically, by like zip code. And I want to say you could even gather more information from the person who clicks it.
Oh, cool.
So we'd have
curious to see how that works.
Idea.
Is your poster or your coaster deal worth doing?
I feel like the coasters are a very popular medium. People really look forward to that.
Is the coasters working? You know, the only thing that I can go by is ticket sales. Like that's the only way you can see anything is a success.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm constantly checking ticket sales.
I haven't heard anything
For
about
data
tickets,
points.
Brock.
Would you like to hear about tickets?
Sure.
I'd love to hear about
You're usually
tickets.
like up my ass about
Hey,
it.
listen, there's a lot of new Jeremys here.
Hey, let's bring in the ticket manager.
Okay, he's here. He's here. Are we ready to go? Okay. All right. Well, I want to say that this is the 61st Mama Tried Flat Out Friday podcast.
He puts his thumb up now just to agree because he has no fucking clue.
That is real.
I think he's
Yeah.
he's not just encouraging our...
Because we had the 60th when we were drinking whiskey during that snowstorm.
Really?
With
God, that
American
was like
Metal.
3 months ago.
Yeah, it was.
It was
Might as well have
one
been.
month ago.
Really?
Yeah, it was probably exactly a month ago.
Wow. So much life has happened since then.
That was our last podcast. And we don't have any guests. You know, not that we don't like guests. We love guests. But we've got a lot of things going on in our lives right now, and I thought this to be a neat way to document that. Is that fair?
Yeah,
It's a great idea. This is kind of traditional, right? To do a podcast right before the show and the race.
Yeah, and I used to use it for like, hey, this is the final way I can tell everybody information.
Right.
you mean to get your nerves out?
Yeah, but look at me.
Look at his yayas are all out.
Yeah, you don't strike me as super nervous.
Do I normally strike people as super nervous?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of a drag, isn't it? Right? This like shaky, like skinny dog hanging around you all the time.
I'm like that.
Like
No.
a wet, cold dog. That's how I was for
Not
a
like
month
that.
and a half.
No, it's just your bit. You're always like you're focused, and you're really good at measuring the room and the heat and
Okay, sure.
and what's happening with your
think,
friends.
I don't think that those things have changed,
No,
but I'm better at managing stress.
It's a required trait for this trio because if there's nobody really caring like that, like we're not
gonna do it.
Like it's
No, of course you guys care. I think that the trio is we care about different things.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're the temperature taker.
Okay, well, since we've been doing this, since we started, since we met, dude, just relax. It'll just be, okay? And that's no way to run a business when you are looking at potential high losses.
Yeah.
I mean, Flat Out Friday, this isn't a brag. This is what it is. This is pressure. I'm giving you some real pressure. It's a $250,000 operation. It's $250,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money for me. I make $80,000 a year. Okay, so that's, when stuff went sideways during COVID,
Yeesh.
that was really intense. That's a massive loss.
Still
Talk
paying
about
for that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for a teacher salary. So I take this stuff, I take it seriously. But yet I realize, I don't know, reading a lot of self-improvement books and just getting a handle on things. I'm not going to worry about things I can't worry about.
Exactly.
Right? Things I can't control. I know it's a bumper sticker slogan,
Yeah.
but I'm going to focus on what's important.
It's easier said than done, too. It's
For sure.
Right.
know.
We don't have to call those supervisors at Meyer back and tell them to hold those dairy stocking jobs.
I already
for
asked for that job, actually.
You did.
I did apply I wanted to work on Christmas break.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you?
They didn't call me back. I'm still in the books at Myers. They keep me as a temporary job because I got my thing at the end of the year. So I called them like, hey, since I got my tax return, which was blank, I'm still in the books. Can I come back?
Mm-hmm.
And nothing happened.
Really?
No, but I do enjoy working at Myers. I don't know where we got with that. We got to stay focused here, Scott. The focus is I'm in a much better place. And I don't have any adjectives to tell you why or how, but things just don't bother me. Like we were just discussing, there was no program this year. And we would spend so much time and cost organizing. And the hand-drawn poster was beautiful. I love it. I got one and I have it hanging in my house, and getting those stats in there and having it printed, it's a surprisingly great deal of effort.
Yeah.
And it probably cost $6,000.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't have the stoke, I thought.
Yeah.
I thought people would be clawing over them.
Yeah.
And then you're leaving and you see piles of them in the hallways.
Yeah.
So
it just didn't make the cut this year.
Yeah. Because we're going to focus on what's important. Because, two things. I want to start by saying, when we started here, Brian, our director,
What's going off right now?
managing,
What?
what is it saying?
Oh, mine is.
Broke the rule.
Is it ringing? Did you hear it?
It was like burp, 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 burp.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, we have headphones on. What do we know?
Yeah, right.
When I was getting some beers, I heard you say this quote, and I think it articulates this season. The Mama Tried Flat Out Friday season, and the seasons change, by the way, right? There's the finding riders or racers or bikes, and then the season changes to, oh my God, we got to get hotel rooms going, right? There's these different seasons. We are in the season, and I think you articulated it perfectly. I got my whole list done, and people keep bringing me problems. That's the season we're in this week, right?
Yes.
My list is all checked off, but it's the most stressful week because of all the problems and people that drop the ball.
Yeah.
Additional checks that just fold, like you finish the map and then the map folds down 4 more pages.
Yes.
Gotcha.
But that's normal. I mean, we're used to that. It's not like it's not our first rodeo, as people say. So we know that's what it is.
But every time the page turns of the new season, I get that taste like, oh yeah, where are my free ticket season? Where's can I get free tickets?
Right.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
And every year I forget about that.
Yeah.
I forgot it's Brazilians are here season.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I forgot about that one. I'm not ready.
I know. And the Indonesians arrive on Monday.
The Indonesian season.
And
It's
the
a new season.
Californians arrive on Monday.
Who's coming? Oh, yeah, Doug and Jerry
Doug
Bear.
and Jerry, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, going back to the point. So that's the season we're in. But another point I wanted to make, we were talking about the program. And I have a new philosophy this year. When people ask me for money, everybody wants more money. And I think the illusion is we make a lot of money. We're the corporate man.
mm-hmm.
I could give you 100 examples of people that ask us for money, extra hotel rooms, free tickets. And I know that people think we have a lot of money. They think big success equates money.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess there's a little honor in that. But I have a new philosophy, and that's I'm going to try to pay myself this year. Okay?
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Let me know how that goes.
So if you don't want the program, that's because I had to pay myself. But that's
I hope that happens, Brock.
I really do too.
Yeah, well, I hope so too, because when I started this, I had told you this is an art project. This is for the love of motorcycles. It's for the love of flat track, and it's for the love of the Stoke.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm giving a riders meeting and I can see the excitement in people's eyes, given that or a check, I would take that. Right? I mean, it means that so much to me. That Stoke.
It sure would be nice to have both.
It would be great to have both. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I'm going to have to say that the money part is a necessity because this is turning into a bit of a job.
Oh, really? 9 years in? You just...
Yeah. I don't know. It's not that the thrill is gone. It's just that when I'm looking at someone and the words are coming out of their mouth and they're asking me for something,
mm-hmm.
I remember when I gave Danny Mitchler his number plate and it was the wrong number. And he said to me, "You owe me a number plate." And I remember seeing those words come out of his mouth. "I owe you a number plate. Like I'm supposed to go get you one right now?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, I should be getting paid for this, is what I had thought. But I wanted to I got one more note to my opening bit. I was leaving here, Warren, last week because people think we have a lot of money. And I wanted to use this story specifically to explain where I'm at financially. I left your shop here, and your shop is in a, statistically, probably the poorest zip code in the United States. Is that fair?
Definitely in the state of Wisconsin.
It's got the highest incarceration rate, the lowest employment, the highest crime. It's unfortunate, and I pass no judgment on it. But I was leaving here, and a guy pulls up behind me. He's honking his horn. And I stop at a light, and I can see he's yelling at me through the mirror. And I don't know what he's saying, but he pulls up next to me, and I roll down the window, and he's like, "Hey, your wheel's about to fall off." And I said, "Don't worry, it's zip tied." And he rolled away. So I want you to think about that when you're asking for free shit. That's a true story.
Did your
Wait a
wheel
minute.
fall off?
Yeah, let's
Brian?
talk about this wheel.
It's not the wheel, it's the hubcap.
Oh,
Mm.
I saw that when I was coming in.
Yeah, right. But it's my what is that? A Toyota Yaris?
Just let it go.
Yeah,
Yeah, let it go.
yeah.
They drift off into
When they
the
come back,
sunset. Sometimes they
if
come back.
if it really loves you, you got to let it free.
Yeah.
That's-
It's too bad they all can't leave as a group. You know?
then they could stay together and
Yeah.
make someone else
Happy,
happy
exactly.
as a team.
You could get a can of flat black spray paint and fucking
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
paint those things
It's murdered out.
without masking off the tire or the lugs or anything.
The tires are black, Scott. You don't have...
Spinner hubcap.
I got really good arch control.
Mm.
Oh, all right, all right.
So a bit
Well,
of a painter, graffiti painter back in the day. You got that
Nope.
nozzle control.
Not at all. I just always had shitty vehicles, and I've had to fix them, make them look like something.
Yeah.
I've spray painted lots of rims continually. I'm still doing it, by the way.
Yep. Bondo and
Mhm.
lots of that growing up.
Yeah.
Fixing vehicles.
Yeah.
Makes you feel good when you walk out to a
Yeah.
freshly painted rim.
Yeah. I mean, there is something about, and I was thinking about this the other day. It's like, even if everything went south, right? Like, you just go back to the olden days when you had nothing and you can make a go of it, right? Like,
Mhm.
starting from zero. It's not like any of us were, yeah, it would suck to lose everything, but we all had the skills to start over. and-
Well, you have the ability now to realize all your, screw ups and mess ups and you have all your knowledge.
Mhm.
You didn't have knowledge back then. You're just
No.
doing what you had to do.
No, you're flailing.
But I think a bold statement. I think we all were smart enough to know if I work hard now, I can relax later.
Sure.
Mhm.
And I'm in that relaxing later. I can just see it. I'm just about to see it around the corner.
You got senioritis.
I do, and I don't want to go back.
No.
As romantic as you try to make it sound, Scott.
Trying to make it sound romantic. I'm just saying that we're all capable.
Oh, I'm capable. I
Yeah.
still stay in the shittiest hotel on Travelocity.
I know you.
I still drive
Pain
this.
is
we still
car.
gotta correct some of your buying habits these days.
I got this shirt for $6 at Walmart. I'm pretty proud of this.
We use Chinese counterfeit microphones.
Yeah, look at these microphones.
Check these things out.
They're not grounded.
It says Shirley on it. Never noticed that before.
Surely.
Well, I just not monopolized the beginning here of the conversation with my bit, but really, where are your heads at going into year 10?
Booyah. My head's like, holy crap. How did it happen so fast? It's it doesn't feel like 10 years.
No.
It's wild. I don't have much to say on it. It just doesn't feel like 10.
It kind of feels like 20, but also like 5 years.
Doesn't make sense.
I know. I feel like we've been doing it forever, but because it's just such a way of life to have it like kind of be happening all year round, like doing events, going on trips together.
Well, I think we really tried hard after COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
Try to find ourselves. when we didn't have the ability to do live events.
Yeah, exactly. And that kickstarted a whole new, like, not way of hanging out, but like we definitely spent more time together outside of like the February events. Thank you, sir. After that, and I think that was great. I appreciated the time, because that's the thing about this whole thing that I like, is like hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
Like the race and the show is awesome, and I love it, and I love all the friends that we've made along the way. But like, at the end of the day, it's hanging out with you guys that I love the most. Like our crew, our team, we would hang out even if we didn't have stuff to do. We would still hang out together, like, anyway.
Sure. And I think we all riff well together.
Yep. I think we're really lucky that way. I think there was this good chemistry, and we, all support each other and enjoy the stuff that we're doing, and obviously like love motorcycles like crazy. And, I think I feel really grateful for the team that we have. Like I mean, team sounds so corporate, but it's true. It's like the team that we have it's super kick-ass.
I want to summarize what you just said, though, in a bolder way. The Mama Tried is more than just you two or me. It's actually maybe potentially 10 people.
Yeah.
It's a team,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about planning year one. What were your meetings like?
I don't even remember.
I remember sitting at HD for the first time. I remember going around and looking at venues with you and Mo. I don't
No,
really.
I thought the venue was what started it. I thought having the place with in the Bricks building next to Iron Horse, I thought that was like what kicked off the idea that we could do
That was
it.
one of the potential. Like when we first started it, that was. Tim came through in the last minute, right? Because we were over there looking at. Remember that building that's on right by the Fiserv, kitty corner from the Fiserv, the sign.
Oh yeah.
We were over there peeking in the
that's right.
windows, trying to figure out where to have a thing at.
Yeah, that's true. There was a lot more buildings around back then too.
Yeah.
That were closer to the city. Those are all used up now. I mean, they all have permanent tenants and are all like been developed. But
Yeah.
there was a lot more warehousey, like off
Way
the
more.
grid buildings to have parties and have events in way back then.
Yeah, a little more outlaw.
Yeah. But other than that, I only remember planning, like, calling people, texting people, Instagram, direct messaging people, and asking them if they wanted to bring a bike. And I remember just like everybody just saying yes, and that was really cool. I remember T-Bone from Noise Cycles was like one of the first people we asked. And
Yeah.
he said yes.
You had Scott and Party drive that bus out with California bikes.
Scott Craig and Sean Donahue. I remember one of the funniest things about the first year was we had asked all these California people if they wanted to bring bikes, and they all said yes. And they said, well, who else is going to be there? We said, well, T-Bone's is bringing a bike. They're like, oh, T-Bone's going, I'm in, I'll count me in. And they're like, okay, well, then they're like, all right, cool. Well, when is it? In February. Oh, all right, winter. Okay. So like, yeah, what's the deal with transportation? I was like, okay. Scott Craig and Sean Donahue are driving a U-Haul truck out. And there's this big long pause.
Because
They're like, those guys, right? We're like, yeah. And they're just like, well, okay. But it all worked out just fine.
I remember so the building we had, it was an active construction zone, right?
Mhm.
Remember the Richter, the inspector,
The building inspector
was
at the time.
cool with it.
Yeah.
And then he ended up passing like
Yeah.
a couple days or a week before.
No, it was he passed after, but he was the one who it came up on his radar at the last minute.
Oh,
And he was and the city was gonna nix it. And he called me up and he was like, what did I hear about this? You're doing some kind of party or something in that building over by the Iron Horse? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, the things you got to sort out, right? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, do I need to come by there and take a look at it? And I was like, no, dude, I know the drill. Well, we'll have like the exits and all that stuff sorted. He's like, all right, cool. I'm just going to sign off on this. But like, I hope you don't have to I don't got to Pay you another phone call.
Speaking of like cowboy kind of
Fuck,
Wild
man.
West, you know, and
That
then
shit doesn't happen anymore.
remember I had to go in there with the foreman. I had to go in and sit down with the team that was building that building, you know, hard hat team. And we're sitting at the table and trying to explain what the heck's going on and keep hitting this guy up. And like, I'm not getting answers. I'm like,
What's in it for him?
well, nothing. We're going to be in his way and we're going to be in his
so
job
then
site.
why would he just say, fuck you? This is
Well,
unorthodox.
True. Yeah. There's a punk ass kid running around trying to have a party in my construction site. And it's like a little crazy.
But he said yes because of
He didn't have a choice though. It was the guy, the people above him, the money people were the ones that had the overall choice. It was like this funnel down effect. Though by the time it got to him, the guy that was boots on the ground was like, whatever, you know, like we had to hang construction lights. We bought like 1,000 feet of construction lights because there's no
There's no lights in there.
heat.
No.
We had to get industrial heater.
You were just restricted to the one floor.
Yep.
Yeah,
So but it was on, was it third floor?
Third floor, so we had to like mask off the stairs so people couldn't go into other sections of the buildings.
Elevator was janky. We had people that were coming to hang out at the show running the elevator because they saw a need, and there's just people just like plugging themselves in to everything. It was really cool.
We did get I remember we did somehow get the fire exit lights working. So that we for the most part, we did, you know, the due diligence stuff we did do. I mean, we had one functioning restroom for how many thousands of people?
There was two, but the ladies' room was like crazy.
Kind of swampy.
Yeah. Lots of overflows there.
Yeah. But it was a good time.
Yeah. It was awesome. And it, you know, thinking back on it, it is crazy. And I didn't know anything about anything that can't come into shows. I just knew how to work, you know. And
When you were leading up to it, you know, now we talked earlier about the anxiety of this. Was there an anxiety for you, or did you think at that time it was going to be no big deal? You know, it was just my friends coming over.
yeah,
there was anxiety because we didn't, like, first of all, we didn't even have like so it's like, okay, we're going to sell beer. Okay, cool. We need a 501c3 or someone to like a license to run the beer buying through. Okay, we'll figure that part of it out. Okay, then we got to write a check. Okay, how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to need a lot of ice. And then we're going to need a lot of garbage cans. Then we're going to need a lot of like place to put the beer. And we're going to need bar sections and just like all the things that like now, you know.
Yeah, we don't have to do any of that.
No.
Right? Like we used to like have to set up and tear down a whole damn thing. Now it's not like that anymore. You know, Granted we don't get the profits from the F&B, but you know, I appreciate the amount of work that goes into, you know, events like that.
Supplying all that stuff, the security, the selling the tickets, printing the tickets,
All
you know,
the labor.
just dealing with, you know, back then it was credit cards and electronic stuff wasn't as common. So it was like having these banks to like, to be able to sell cash tickets. And
we ran out of tickets. I remember my sister and Stacy, my wife, was sitting at the door, and they were like, there was no tickets left to give them, so they were drawing dicks on everybody's hands to make to.
Well, it was $5.
Yeah. It was just like it's mayhem. We sell out all of our merch, and the only thing left at the bar was wild turkey.
But now again, no, that was after. You didn't know after before,
No.
and so before is it high stress?
I don't remember.
no, because we didn't have high expectations either. It's like we didn't, you know, we figured if 500 people would show up, big deal. Like that's so manageable over the course of the entire weekend, you know.
Because it was a Saturday, Sunday at that time.
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't think it was Friday night.
Did you have? Go ahead, finish.
Well, I think we had like, you know, 1,000 people show up in like the first 2 hours.
Yeah, it was crazy. That place was packed,
And
it happened so fast.
And we hadn't done any advertising really. I mean, we hadn't, you know, now we have like big
I remember
like
seeing
marketing
it
budgets.
in the newspaper.
Yeah, I got front page newspaper. How the hell did that happen?
I have no idea how that happened. I
Still
think we were all surprised that
Still
was
don't happen. Maybe it was HD pulling some strings.
Why would HD even get involved in this?
There was a guy named Mike Lowney in there that was working on experience. I think it was an experiential and he saw a vein of like, you know, younger folks coming up in the world and in a different way to view motorcycleship, and he's trying to keep a little fun and a little creative vibes through the motor company, and he partnered with. I mean, it made sense for us did it make sense for him? I don't know. They probably rolled the dice, but Scott had a lot of pedigree to him. I didn't have shit.
You got plenty of pedigree.
I have it now, but I didn't have it then.
I feel like Warren got dragged kicking and screaming in the whole thing.
I did.
You know, just like he's like, "What? I don't want to do this. It's fucking stupid. We're gonna do what?" And he's like, "We're only gonna do it if we can do it this way." I was like, "All right, let's do it that way." And he's like, "And then like this." And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." And he's like, "And then like basically no rules." And I was like, "Sounds fucking fun to me." Like, all right.
I did. I didn't want to have anything to do with it.
It was like $3 beers and $3 shots of wild turkey,
Mm-hmm.
and that was all we had.
Well, what were you doing that day? So that morning, right? Are you running around, or are you? Because you generally have a philosophy, Warren, of like, it'll work itself out.
That was
The show runs itself.
I learned that though, Proc. That's not. I actually earned that. I didn't learn. I learned it and I earned it. You know, but back then, no, it was like all hands on deck. Stacy was pregnant still, so I'm like battling that. I'm trying to, keep the life on track. I'd still do that, but it was crazy. I mean, Mo was on it. Scott,
Maureen, yeah, my girlfriend at the time, she
Scott's
was a
got
huge help. She was such a, she was super organized, and it was, and it's good to have like females around because they just have that way of organizing things that like we just, I don't know, we just don't have.
You have your bag of chips and some ice. And she was like, I could see Mo like, no, you guys need counters in a bank.
Yeah.
And a safe.
Yeah,
And we're like, yeah.
yeah. Same thing with Leslie and Stacy. Stacy handled the merch again, and
Mm-hmm.
Mo handled most of the sponsorship stuff and all the nitty gritty kind of detailish stuff that Becca does now.
Yeah.
Scott had great connections within the city, so I mean, to have an inspector just sign off just on.
We're lucky with that. It just never happens anymore.
Yeah.
All those old timers are gone.
Mm-hmm.
It'll never happen.
Well, that's what I don't think people appreciate when they make the comment, it was better in the warehouse.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, that's to be debated. Yes, but that's a golden era of.
Yeah. Of city regulations that existed at the time that you could do that, and you just cannot do that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of the reason why you can't do it anymore, right?
Yeah. It's a lot
Yeah.
to do with it.
It was better in a warehouse, and we're the example of why there are rules to not let this happen ever.
But wait, here's something I think about, and I didn't mean to cut you off. It's our 10-year anniversary, but is it the 9th year anniversary
No.
of Flat Out Friday or 8th?
7th.
I think it's the 8th.
The 8th. But we've done more than 10 Flat Out Fridays.
I lay awake at night trying to count them.
Because we did lacrosse, we did
Yeah.
Cleveland, we did.
We did one for the 110th. We did one just for television.
That's right, we did. So there's probably 13 or 14 Flat Out Fridays.
Do you want to include the
No.
X Games?
Oh God.
I mean, how about I did one in the spring? I did in the South. I did one on a dirt track down there. So I don't know what quantifies as.
Even if we just counted the indoors,
Yeah,
there's got to be 14,
there's
right?
plenty. There's enough for me to say in the riders' meetings this year to the pros. If I was talking to the riders' meeting, I don't tell you how to put your elbows up. Don't tell me how to make a fucking racetrack, right?
Exactly.
I don't tell you, hey, you know what you should do, Cameron Smith? You should you should be deeper on the throttle in the turn.
I mean, your elbows look a little bit low, buddy.
I'd like you to see you, chatter the front a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about how to make a Coke syrup track. But actually, I'm not picking on Cameron. He's actually the nicest.
Cameron's the nicest.
He's the greatest dude to have in the pits.
He's actually just like all smiles and stoke all the time.
Yeah.
But hey, come here. 2-time national champ talking. I think your track's a little slippery. That's a quote, by the way. You can fill in the blank on who that is, but. And I thought, I don't tell you to keep your elbows up. But I want to go back to your first year. Did you guys have parties or things on Friday night, Saturday night? Did they happen organically? Were they planned?
We did a pre-party at the museum.
It was on a Friday night.
Must have been.
Was that with Moon Curse and?
No, I think that was
the year after, Moon Curse and Mount Salem.
I think it was the year after. I don't know, man. Maybe it was.
Wasn't there like a?
Because Moon Curse did they did the song in the video, didn't they?
Yep.
Yeah, so it was that year.
So it must have been that year.
Yeah.
But that was probably on Thursday, right?
Dude.
And then because I remember there being a party at Sabbatic on Friday night, and remember the cash register somehow the cash register, everybody came in. I mean, and it was like you couldn't get another body inside, and there was people spilling out on the sidewalk, and somehow this poor bartender, the cash register, the drawer got stuck, and they couldn't open the drawer, and so they were like, they had no money to like give out for change. They couldn't do anything with the money, and I remember there was people just throwing money, and they were trying to like pry the drawer open, and eventually just started like just scooping cans out and putting them on the bar, and people in the front just started handing them back. People were just throwing 20s over the crowd onto the bar, and you were just like grabbing beers and just putting them over the back of your head, and they just get passed to the back, and it was, what a fucking party it was. God damn. There was another time, do you remember when the guys from these Canadian guys and went down in the sewer and like they were fucking around. I don't know, like they took mushrooms or something like that, and they found like an open manhole, and they started going around in those tunnels, and then they popped up on the street right in front of the attic. And it was like, I guess it was still a little bit too close to 9/11, and suddenly there was like a million sheriffs and like MPD around. And it was like a whole thing. A bunch of guys got hauled down.
I don't remember any of that.
They were biker dudes.
Yeah, there were people that were in town for our thing and just having a good time, and somehow found an open like.
You're gonna have that on a job that size. Someone's going to do that at a show this size.
It was a lot. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of
and then
fun.
you still did the Sunday thing.
Yeah, we had ice races that first year too.
Mm.
Oh yeah, that's right.
On McKinley Marina. Wild.
Planned? It was planned, or just it was organic? Just like, hey, we're gonna head down there. Why don't you tell people?
No, we planned. I mean, we were riding a lot. I was riding dirt bikes a lot more then, and everybody's out there who was like, let's do it. You know, there was still an assload of people over at the show, and came back, and still, you know, there was still a lot of people even after the ice races.
Yeah.
Did you probably didn't even make it out there, did you?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, because I mean, I had like a bunch of bikes at that time. I remember like bringing a whole bunch of stuff down and dropping it off, and then going back. I remember bringing down like bikes and gas cans and setting them up, and then I think going back to the venue for some reason.
Yeah.
Because somebody needed to be there.
Well, we didn't think anything of it. Like, it wasn't, yeah, we'll just go ride. You know, we didn't know what was going to happen with the show and how many people were going to show up and how much of a frenzy it was. So we were a little green, I think, there in our assumptions that we could handle it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it was cool too, because like in Milwaukee, the culture of ice stuff is, you know, everyone just brings their bikes down there, and then if you wander around and you make friends with someone, or just say, hey, a lot of people just like, hey, you want to take my bike for a ride?
Yeah.
There's a lot of like bike sharing, so that was cool, because you could do that. You could just bring bikes down, set them up, and then just like let people take them.
Ben Boyle brought his big wheel pan head up,
right.
and he ended up riding the shit out of that. Everybody was riding that thing.
Yeah,
That was cool.
he had the tires were studded in the show too.
Mhm.
It was in the show. God.
After the first year, before you planned it, did you think it to be an annual thing?
Yeah,
Because when was that?
Well, when we
point?
first started, I didn't think that, but when we had the success, I'm like, yeah, why not? Let's do it again. Of course, we want to do it again.
Mm-hmm. That was a good time.
We sign it? Did we sign a multi-year deal with HD?
I don't think so, because I don't think nobody had any idea what was going to happen.
So let's just zoom in a little bit. I think everybody knows this, but okay, we're going to do a second year, but the building is developed now. Now it's condos.
Yeah.
And I'm going to guess, knowing you guys and the past 10 years of working with you, you know, around December, you're like, we should probably find a space. And you're like, you know, I just drove by the other place and it's actually rented out. So who do you know?
Dude, that was a major problem for the first until we got to the rave.
That was really stressful.
Yeah.
Well, the second year you were at that building on St. Paul, and that's the year that you asked me to help.
It was so cold.
And Matt Sen sorted that out with Scott Revelinski, who was the real estate guy, developer, owned the building at the time, and it was vacant. It was something he had just bought. They just
white boxed it. It was all ready to try to rent it out.
But it had somehow, when right before Matt knew about it, because in between ownership, or when Scott had bought it, someone had let the boiler go, like let the heat broke down, and so there was massive broken pipes, and there was massive amounts of flooding in the basement. And so remember when we got it, they had just remediated like a bunch of there was like plywood on the floor because a bunch of the wood flooring had gotten torn up, and Matt had fixed all the piping, and he was the one who like helped us figure out and help and got us in there. So thanks to Matt's son.
Yeah, that was a thing. Like, who do we know that has buildings, and then it always come down to the last minute. There were times when we were a month out and we didn't have a building, or we didn't have the alderman had to sign off on this, that, or the other, and they were just kind of pushing us. And finally, at the end, we ended up at the rave because we didn't have any other options. It was you had to go to a venue that was safe and secure.
After Second Street. Second Street was the goal.
Well, hang on. I want to go. I know it was the golden years, but that one year you did that bar, that one spot. I remember walking through with you, and you guys had to also do all the electricity in there. Right?
Yeah,
remember this?
That was the second year. That's when you took tickets the second year. Or no, the third year.
No, the second year I was taking tickets, and,
really?
and you had to do all the electricity.
We had to run all the e-lights or emergency lights.
Right.
Yeah.
Because at that point we were on the radar and we did have an inspector.
And you had brought porta potties.
Yep. You had to build a big ass ramp off the loading dock.
A handicap ramp, but also a motorcycle ramp.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we had to put in a handicap elevator, didn't
No,
we?
that was over
on Second Street.
Yeah.
We had to get all the exit lights working. We had to get the stairways. We had to put handrails up on the stairways. We had to do a bunch of shit.
Yeah. And that only escalated as from year to year. It kept getting harder and harder, and more hoops to jump through, and more things to get done.
So why didn't you stay there at that building?
It got rented.
Okay. Remember, we were gonna buy it.
We looked at it. Yeah.
We were thinking about actually buying it because.
Well, then you'd have a shop.
It was it would have been a multi-use scenario with Mama Tried being a anchor.
But then we would have been getting into the year-round event business because we would have the space for us to have our event, but then we would have had to be in the event business and renting it out the rest of the year. And we were like, do we want to really get into all that? I mean, we didn't really know each other back then.
Yeah.
So it was a lot.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that we had done it, but in another way, I'm kind of glad that we didn't because the trajectory would have been a lot different. So
then now you got what you call the golden years, the 2 years of Mama Tried on Second Street.
Yeah.
And, well, how'd you find
Was it only 2?
Yeah.
So we only had 4 warehouse shows. We've been to the rave this will be our 6th year at the rave.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Who's the archivalist?
I feel like there was 3 at the...
Was it 18 or 19 at the rave?
No idea.
2019 was the first one.
You might as well ask me how much tickets are.
Well,
No
then
idea.
we must have done when there must have been maybe 3 years. Was it? We didn't do 2 years on St. Paul. Did we? Was there a show?
Was there a show at another building somewhere?
That was 2. It was 2 at Second Street. I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, guess there's only 4. 6 years at the rave.
Yeah. 6 years at the rave.
Okay. Well, how'd you find that building?
The Second Street?
Yes.
I think we found it through
Angela Warren.
Angela Warren, I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah. She was pestering us at St. Paul about meeting Brian.
Yeah.
We finally got over there, and it's beautiful.
I remember taking that freight elevator up to that attic space on the top floor, and just like the doors open up, and you're just like, what?
Yeah.
The most beautiful loft space ever. Like you couldn't. It's like a movie set beautiful.
Yeah. We went up there at dusk too, so it was lights were
perfect.
Awesome.
We just like, oh my God, had such like a motorcycle show boner.
We had to figure out all the lighting in that place too, like changing light bulbs and
trying to get the lighting sorted out. And there's so much dust. Remember, we just like swept and swept and swept and vacuumed and swept and vacuumed and just like.
Because the guy was into preserving the wood foundation, right? The wood skeleton of that building, right? Mm-hmm. And it had no fire system, no
fire escape, no like.
How did that even happen? How did he preserve it to be like that?
Well, back then you could get away with it, and that's why we got kicked out of there. Not kicked out, but that's why we couldn't keep doing it there, is because he just didn't want to do the upgrades. And so we were getting these temporary event permits to bypass those regulations. And then the third year, the city was just like, look, we've been telling you guys
Well,
This is the last year.
legitimate businesses were complaining. You know, people that spend a lot of money
To have real liquor licenses.
and to have real buildings that can have real people in them, and then there's just us
have
fly by
bathrooms
night.
and have like and, you know, and fire alarms and
Because you had to hire. You hired some friends of yours, Warren, to be the fire team. They walked around with buckets of water
that's right.
and flashlights.
Red shirts.
Yeah, we had fire team. Wasn't Jonah one of
Yeah,
those?
yeah.
Was Carlos too?
Uh-huh.
Was
Yeah.
Frazier?
No, Frazier wasn't around then. He wasn't coming to him yet.
DL and those guys.
Yeah, Dio's been there the whole time.
Yeah.
Ryan was there at that
Yeah.
point. But no, I think that was Carlos's connection, like him and his son, because they were.
And
he
a
was
bunch
in,
of his guys like came over did the fire stuff.
Mm-hmm. We had Matt's boys helping
yeah.
out. My
And-
parents,
yeah.
Stacy, like there's
Ziggy
always
and
been
Augie
family.
and
Yeah.
Liam. Yep,
Yep.
doing garbage and hauling ice and beer. We were still selling all of our own stuff back then.
By the semi-load.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a semi-trailer pull up between the buildings. Remember that? And we could use that as a storage
Yeah.
for the ice and the
Yeah.
beer.
Beechwood's always been on there. Dave Hawk again, you know.
Yeah, super helpful.
That's a cool part about the show in the city is it's so supportive, and there's so many people out there that are just willing to help.
Yeah.
And they don't even have to have they don't have their hand out. They're not expecting anything. They're just there to just be a part of it and have fun, and it's pretty awesome to see that and experience that.
Yeah. I remember, with Dave and Beechwood, and something like, he's like, well, how much beer do you think you'll need? And I was like, well, how many did we have like the last year? And he's like, I think you had 15 pallets. And I was like, all right, well, 18 pallets? He's like, all right. And I'm like, you need a check for that? He's like, no, I don't figure that. Like, it's so great, you know? It's like that's how cool it was. Like, you know, because that's a huge like check to write when you don't have anything coming in. It's like, that's the thing with events. Like, you got to write all these checks before the thing happens, rolling the dice that people are going to buy tickets and it's going to all sort out. And I remember back in those days, like those big checks like that where people were like, it's all right. Just, you know, pay us after the weekend.
Yeah, they'd bring coolers and the semi-trailer and people. I mean, they would give us a couple guys that are running beer, you know.
Yeah, they would help. Yeah, that's right. They would help with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And they do all the signage for us.
Yeah. But that's enough about us.
Well, no, hang on. I'm almost done. We're archiving. We're going to get through these first couple of years. As the story goes, the way it was told on the news, if you remember, this guy who had gone to Mama Tried was like, this is a beautiful space. Let's get married here. And that wedding got shut down. Mm-hmm. And that was the sob story on the, not to diss this guy's poor wedding, but
no,
that was the sob story on the news.
Yeah.
That this wedding couldn't happen. It was like a cop. And he'd gone to Mama Tried and his wedding got shut down.
He went to Mama Tried because his wedding got shut down?
You know, he went to Mama Tried, saw the space, and was like, hey, baby, let's get married
Let's
here.
get married in the same venue. And remember, we had been talking to Brian saying, like, look, man, the city's not going to keep okaying these events. We got to get these,
you got to update.
we got to get the bathrooms and get the fire exit stuff sorted out. And the city kept saying, like, you know, yeah, you guys got to do this stuff. And then that dude had signed a contract to have his wedding there, and the city was like,
right,
no. And then that became news.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it was like, we knew it was over. But that was only like 6 weeks before our event.
I think it was a little farther than next. I remember you text me randomly, hey, who do you know at State Fair Park? You know what I'm saying? Like where we would rent like a county building at the State Fair. And now just imagine that if history would have taken it that way, I think that would have been the end, because the architecture of the rave and the history of being in that warehouse is part of the Mama Try lure.
Mm-hmm. Remember, the building's gone now, but remember that, like, it's almost like an aircraft hangar. It wasn't an aircraft hangar, but down on Jones Island.
Yeah.
And it was like
Yeah, it was like literally for storing salt.
Yeah.
We were going to have it in there with no heat.
We were going to have it in there, no heat.
No lights.
And then we were like...
Yeah, the sun would have went down and we would have been like, uh-oh. We didn't think about
freezing in here. And then there was some talk of even moving it to the summer, remember?
Wasn't that... That whole Jones Island thing was just for the 110th, wasn't it?
No, we looked at it
we were going to rent a barge.
Yeah.
That was for the 110th, and we were like, let's go back and revisit that place because it'll work in the summer. And we could rent a barge and have a jump.
We were going to jump the river. We're going to do a hill climb on those piles of salt.
Yeah. Wasn't it Phoenix?
dreams.
Phoenix was helping like sort that out, right?
His boat was parked at that
Yeah.
at that building.
The Lafarge cement boat.
Mm-hmm.
And who was we had a connection for a barge through I don't remember what big construction company is it. They do a lot of like aqua, like water.
No, we didn't have a connection. I just called him and asked him if I could rent their barge.
Which is probably why it was like
Michael's.
$25,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were like, how much? Yeah, it'll be so cool. How do we find 25 grand? We were like trying to find sponsors. Remember, we really were gonna fucking do it.
We were going to do a mini bike race on the barge. And
Yeah.
we were going to have the deal. You had to have floaties on because it was like an environmental thing. You had to have floaties on your mini bike. And we were into this.
Yeah,
This
we
was
were like.
on
I
paper.
remember being committed. I remember going and having meetings with the harbor
Yeah.
commission.
Mm-hmm. Again, there was people that I think you knew over there. It's always about.
We pulled on some strings that weren't happy to be pulled on. We pushed it a little far that time. But
How do you know if you don't ask?
see,
Yeah, that's what gets us in trouble.
that's where the dynamic is. That's why we all work so good together.
The
You're gonna be
other
like,
end
I'm
is-
not even gonna ask. You'd be like, you never know until you ask. And I'd be like, I don't really want to ask.
Yeah.
Just call them. You never know.
Yeah.
What's wrong with asking? I was like,
They're only gonna say yes or no.
yeah, but they're gonna say no with like a lot of conviction and like
Yeah,
don't ever
with
fucking
some
call me
negative
again.
equity.
Yeah, block this. Yeah.
Can you believe what Proc asked for? Hey, I just want to time this best. Brian, how are we doing on time?
46 minutes
Left?
is what we are.
Okay. Well, thanks for the history. Well, the point is, you guys are at the rave, and there's a story. I think everybody knows the story of why Flat Out Friday is at the Fiserv. I would love to still be at no disrespect to the Fiserv. It's wonderful and great, and I'm proud to be there.
It's amazing. Yeah.
But why we're not at the arena? I remember when I was at the arena and tickets were $8. I remember that too,
Yeah.
and that's great. And but times have drastically changed. In 10 years.
And we actually can't even use the arena anymore, even if we wanted to.
Yeah, they wouldn't pull the ice.
No.
Time of year scenario.
No.
There's just no physical date where it would work where the ice would be gone and we can do it.
Plus soccer, plus
I do want to say, if they would have moved one game this year, there would have been a 2-week window
really.
for the Admirals. Yeah, but whatever.
Yeah.
We're at the Fiserv, and,
Yeah,
and
it's
also
great, and they're
you have to
great.
sign a
They're
deal with the
awesome there.
Fiserv too. I mean, it's not like you just. People just think it's a rinky-dinky little like.
Yeah, you
know
just
what?
call somebody at the office,
Yeah.
like, "Hey, can we book that place for the day?" Sure. What day you need?
Yes.
I feel like we need to talk about dates now. It's like, is this a 30-year in our deal? We might need to.
It's a second. I thought it was a
Second.
year
Okay, so we have
deal.
one more. We need to look though.
Yeah.
So that's just that we have a deal with the Fiserv because that's one thing that kept me awake. If we go back to ticket sales in 2022 after when we did our second show, remember they were not going well in advance. And the Fiserv,
Yeah.
it's like, what are you guys doing? Are you guys even advertising?
Well,
Or like, have you seen our Instagram?
yeah, because we're competing with all these massive concerts, and I give Fiserv and all the people that we work with like so much credit because I went and looked at the schedule for some reason, like the big picture schedule for like the whole year. They have, because when we started working with them, the first year was going to be 2020, right? Or was it
Yeah,
1 year
yep.
before? Yeah,
No, it was
gonna be
2020.
which got canceled. But we, since then, the amount of events that they book at that venue has gone sky high. I mean, they're probably doing 200 some events
Wow,
a year,
no kidding.
and it's a lot. A lot.
Brian Adams is on Thursday, Flat Out Friday, and then Blake Shelton's on Saturday.
Really?
Brian Adams was canceled, by the way,
Oh, really?
because of low tickets. Can I say
Really?
that? I can say that. I don't know if it goes for Brian Adams.
Yeah. I would have.
That's on
Be
Thursday.
like funny that I would have been surprised that they would have put it there. I feel like that would have been a Riverside show.
But yeah, that's what Brian Adams is saying right now.
Or after an Admirals game.
Oh, maybe it is.
But so Thursday's open. Maybe we want to do a media day, but just the same. Yes, it is extremely high turnover or high booking.
In
high
demand,
booked. In
yeah.
demand. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. But it's a great business model. I don't want to talk about the NBA per se, but the Milwaukee Bucks own the venue. So it's not like, the Admirals, the hockey team, pays rent to be
at the Panther Arena.
So the Bucks, you know, Giannis directly is making off of more money off of Flat Out Friday than I am. Giannis is
not necessarily,
you're right.
but the Bucks, the
Bucks
team,
organization,
yes,
can afford to keep Giannis in a small market city, and we're currently paying 3 head coaches to find the right coach to get us to the championship this year.
Is Friday Mama Tried Sports Talk.
Talking about sports now?
Sports talk.
Wow, we should.
We have a call. If you guys could call in, bring a caller. We'll be taking your calls till another 15 minutes.
Let's talk about let's talk about those 49ers offensive line.
My point is that's the business model of what the Pfizer does, and they're all pro. People come from around the world to work at that arena and be part of sports management.
And I still pinch myself when we go in there and take it over with a bunch of
I just got goosebumps remembering how at 5 a.m. when I get at the arena and I walk in and you can see that arena. It's a beautiful arena because it's so tight, right? It's right. You can like, oh my God, this is, I think it holds 15,000, which is a smaller arena, but the way it's made is so beautiful. There's not a bad seat.
Not a bad seat. The sound is so good. In the just like the rave, all the staff, all the people that we work with are so pro and so like just on it. And, with the Eagles Club, the same, working with Joe and his team over there have been the professionalism is sky high.
Yeah.
And they're just such great people to work with.
I want to just, a memory just put in my head, and I'm going to document it. The very first time I ever did Flat Out Friday, I got the lease at midnight. So, right, it's Thursday night at midnight. I remember I needed a key to your shop, Warren. I dropped you off at the Hi-Hat. And you were hammered. And I was like, well, I guess I got this. And I showed up at the arena with my truck. I had a pickup truck. There was no rental truck of everything that I needed. And Jeremy Martins and Brian Martins.
You got
Kevin Clark. I picked him up from the airport.
On Friday morning.
On Thursday night at midnight.
For the first
Flat Out Friday. And I'm trying to set it up. And, someone brought a skateboard. And, we'd work a little bit. And then we'd ride motorcycles. It was, we talk about an all-pro staff. The Mecca was not. The arena was not. They gave me the keys and left. I'm on the microphone. Hey, everybody! Like it's just nobody cared. It was just like kids. We were just children. It was great.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Well, hang on. We have 10 minutes. We're going to expedite this.
Expedite.
Expedite?
Expedite.
Expediate's not a word? I've been using that for a long time.
It's the word, but you're pronouncing it wrong.
We've been correcting you for like 8 years, too.
Okay, we will expedite the situation. And let's just talk real quickly about this year, the 10-year. I will say, it's funny, I'm asking myself a question. The 10-year of Flat Out Friday, as I told everybody from top down, I want the same show. Let's stop being crazy, Jeremy, for just a little bit and creating all of this chaos. And I know if I said anything, you guys would say yes. I want elephants in the lobby. You'd roll your eyes, but you'd be like, all right, Brock says it is.
You got an elephant connection? Yeah, I know a guy. I'm like, all right.
All right. We'll have elephants
you got someone to pick up the poop?
And Warren would be like, oh, God. And he would do it. But I don't want to cause that stress. And by the way, you talk about just ask and you get a yes or a no. You'd say yes, but you really mean no. And then there's friction. So that's why I don't always ask. But my point is, I wanted things to be as less stressful on everybody as possible this year.
Well, I feel it.
Yeah.
Not the stress. I think you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
All right.
As always.
And I think the fans, they're going to see the same show, but I still think of all the details that I focused on, if I would have had elephants in the lobby, that's not what they talk about. They talk about the balloons in the goofball race. They talk about the porta potty. They talk about the open am race that had a really tight finish. Mm-hmm. They talk about what was important. And it was me that spun out on all these details like programs and apps and elephants. Right?
Yeah, punk bands in the lobby.
Punk bands in the
lobby, yeah.
That's not there. We're going to focus on what's important. All right. What's going on for your 10-year? Can you say, is there something special for the 10-year? Why would someone want to come to the 10-year? 10-year Mama Tried.
I don't think there's any one thing, man. It's just I think that everybody feels a little ownership and pride of just coming for many years, and it's a family orientated. It's a memory making situation. It's like a family reunion kind of deal, and people are stoked. I think there's buzz around it, and I'm looking forward to just doing the same thing I do every year and standing there and
Yeah.
having hugs and high fives and some libations and just soak it all in.
Do you think that you've created an alumni class, so to speak?
Like,
You know what I mean?
with like people coming.
People that have had their
Out
bikes in the
here,
show.
right.
No, people that I've seen this. I've seen this in the social media. This is a narrative that's a common theme. I had my bike in the 4th show. I can't wait to come see the 10th. You know, there's an alumni class that you've developed
Sure.
of these the 10 graduating classes prior.
I think the hardest part for me personally is the fact that most of the people that build bikes that have been in the show are basically like alumni or legacy. A lot of those folks are so prolific on building bikes that they could bring a bike every year. And we often say to people like, hey, you have an open invite to come back because like you always, whatever you make is always. But thank God not everyone holds us to that because we've extended that invitation to everyone. We'd be filled up every year, right? So, and the thing that we found this year that's unique is that, so this is 2024, and when the pandemic hit, they talked about how everyone, picked up a project and, learned a hobby or learned a lot of people built motorcycles starting in those days, and all those motorcycles got finished last summer. And so we've got, literally 1,000 submissions of really, really, really cool bikes. We could have 5 shows easily of just stuff from submissions of people that we have we've never met them, never heard of, didn't meet them at a bar, didn't meet them on a run, didn't meet them on a trip, didn't meet them, at another show. We could have 5 shows this year of really, really, really quality level motorcycles that just we didn't have room for, and that's the thing that gives me anxiety. That there's so much stuff out there that people submitted because if they wanted to be in the show that we weren't able to pick because we just don't have the space.
So what you're saying is this year is the best quality of product.
Yeah. And I hope that the people that submitted stuff that didn't get chosen maybe wait a year and just resubmit again.
Yeah, just keep trying.
Keep trying because there's so much cool stuff out there, and I would love to put it in the show or like have a summer show, but we just don't do that. And it's just, we don't have time for that. We, the thing is we do this thing during the winter and that's what we do. And I wish we had more room. I wish we had a bigger building. I wish we had, a week to put up, 1,000 bikes, but we can't do that. So I that's the thing that keeps me awake at night. I know it's so strange, but there's literally 1,000 bikes that got submitted that are like fucking kick-ass, that are so worthy to be in the show that we just weren't able to pick. So
yep, yeah, and you got your old standbys, and folks that there's guys out there that expect because you have such a wide variety of people that come to the event. Some people are too polite to ask. Some people want to come but they don't want to ask because they're nervous. Other people bring bikes every year. There's only a couple of them that have been every year. There's two guys that Dan Ronsvog and Kevin Bass have been in every show, so they have that claim to fame. So, I don't know. It's like it's just this melting pot of personal relationships that need to be managed, and it's stressful. But I'd rather be doing that than something else, right? Like if that's all I have to worry about, don't punch me in the face if you hear me complaining about it, please. Like we're in a great spot, and I'm blessed, and I
appreciate that humble comment.
Yeah, we're super lucky.
I got 2 more things, Warren, and we'll let you go. First off, tell me about building this raffle bike, or sorry, not a raffle, it's a giveaway bike.
Yeah,
it's not a raffle bike; it's a giveaway bike.
Right.
You get it by buying a sheet of tickets.
No, you get a sticker sheet off the website. So you get a nice. You go buy a sheet of stickers, and you enter yourself in to win a 2023 Harley Davidson Lowrider ST that was highly modified at the shop with lots of parts from sponsors that were.
It is really, really cool.
You told me, Scott, that a motorcycle should be sexy. And I was like, yeah, well, what's wrong with my little beat up old oily Seika 650? And then I saw that bike, Warren, and it makes me bite my jaw. Like the first time I saw my wife, for example. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so sexy to me.
Yeah.
It turned out good, man. Like, and I'm proud of
It's
it.
really cool.
And everybody that helped, I'm very humbled by how that all went down. And it's hard to ask people for free stuff.
But you never know if you ask.
This is true. And I went after it, and I kind of proved my theory. So here I am, humbled again, and just stoked to have people look at it and talk about it. And I think that's going to be a big hit at the show. It's really cool. There's some really awesome parts, and a lot of love went into it. And I look forward to chatting to people about it. And
you expect on Sunday to put the bike in the raffle tin and pull it out.
We're giving it away.
Jimmy Swanson from Des Moines wins it.
Right there.
Yep.
Right there.
Exactly.
So you can buy tickets at the show?
Yeah, mamatriadshow.com if you are not going to be able to make the show, or you can buy them in person. You do not have to
be present to win.
Nope. Do not have to be present to win, and we'll ship it, within reason. And I'm kind of bummed at the situation though, because I'm not able to enjoy that thing. Like neither of us. I'm not even really going to be able to ride the thing.
No.
And well, maybe it'll sit in the shop for a
tomorrow,
while.
so I'm excited to hear it. So it's when I came in yesterday, I came to meet you to talk about a bunch of stuff that we had to go over. But when I saw it sitting there on the rack, I was like, man, that thing is fucking sexy.
Are you single?
Man. God damn. It just kind of like it's got like a throb to it.
It's weird though, because it's like from the side the thing looks fairly tame, and stock. It looks like that's why I had to call Logan and Brian back. I'm like, yo, I need some detailed pictures of this thing, because it's not like speaking through those pictures. But yeah, the more you look at it, it's like
it's really cool.
I think it'll fit more people that way, right? It's not this like gumball painted sparkly thing that only fits a certain genre of people. I think it fits everybody. It's men, women. I think people are going to dig it.
Yeah, it's super cool. Really,
One
really
question
nice.
I think people keep asking too: is there a shipping policy? Are you putting X amount of dollars?
Yeah, it's on the website. I don't remember. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, but it's like $500 or $750 worth of shipping in the domestic or wherever. Actually, it'll go wherever, but you're only going to get a certain amount of money towards it. All
right, I got one final question for each of you. This is a question I ask a lot when we're done, and you guys know this from meetings, but this is kind of a meeting. So tell me, Scott, and I don't want a glittering generality. I want you to be very specific, but just give me a moment you're looking forward to this week coming up.
I like, there's two moments. One of them I've talked about and I repeated is always my favorite moment is walking in Sunday morning when, all the things, Flutter Friday has happened. The show is opened. It's, it closed on Saturday night. We shook a million hands and, said hi to people and solved all the little things, right? That Sunday morning, it's like the thing is on a glide path. That's it. It's like it's happening. And Sunday morning, when the sun is coming in the windows of the ballroom, and there's very few people around. There's maybe a couple people of the staff of the event venue. There's photographers who want to get their shots in before the crowd comes in. And you can walk around and really, that's the first time that we really get to commune with the motorcycles, because you meet all the people and you meet the builders and you meet all the people that come in from out of town. And that's really, it's awesome. But I feel like Sunday morning is the first time you actually see the bikes. Like, it's like church. And it's really quiet and it's chill. And like, you'll come in and you'll start playing music. You're all bleary eyed and you'll start playing some music.
Is blurry a word? I think it's blurry.
That too. It goes hand in hand.
I know the moment, Scott, and it is special. And if you're fortunate enough to find yourself to be able to get up and be there at that time, do it.
Yeah, Sunday morning is really just like, if you can be right at the door at 10 o'clock when the doors open, it's pretty special.
Yeah.
Warren, what are you looking forward to? Because one thing about the week of Mama Weekend, whatever it is,
It's a week.
I don't see you much. You're Warren.
I immerse myself into everything, right? Like I get super excited and just hang out with my buddies and just float around the city. No rules, no fucking.
Why are you floating around the city? You've got an event at the rave. Why are
It's
you?
a citywide event, man. Like I'm there a lot, but and when I'm there, I'm
You handle all the loading and setup.
Yeah. So like I get plenty of bikes still, but when I'm there, I'm done. Like Saturday comes, I'm not working. It's all set. Like I'm there. I'm gonna be in my circle talking shit with guys on the floor. I'm deciding when to drink my first beer, or just like kind of floating with the wave and feeling it, trying to be present, like my wife would say.
So your moments when you let go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. It's pretty great.
All right. Well, we're summarizing. Thank you for the commercial cough. The wrap-up cough.
That actually was really
I want to remind people that the Mama Tried Week starts Tuesday, the 15th? 18th?
No, 20th. Tuesday the 20th. Tuesday.
It's the 20th.
20th.
Okay.
Tuesday the 20th, I promise.
We're going to have a race at Promises, world's smallest short trek. Inside Promises. And for those of you that don't know, Joey Turbo had a little bit of a medical scare, and so let's kind of turn that into a little bit of a supportive. Let him know that Joey's got support from the motorcycle community.
What party? There's a band playing.
There is a band playing. It's a secret, though. Actually, you tried to sneak it out of me, didn't you?
I don't even know, because I don't even know what it is. Like, that's how good of a secret it is.
They're pretty big. Right. Anyway, and then on Wednesday we're going to be at Elwood's. Elwood's is always a great time. What I think is great is Nate, the owner of Elwood's, has taken, what we gave him, and he ran with it, right? Yeah. And he does a great job
Nate's
of having.
Been a great friend and kind of partner through since we started.
Yeah, and that's the time where I like to let go. It's because Nate's driving it. Yeah, not me.
He's got a great staff there. That's a great bar. Elwood's is fun. They put on a great race there.
Thursday, the Harley Davidson Museum. Thursday night we'll be at Fuel.
Wait, Thursday museum mini bike race.
Yes.
What time is that?
That's going to be around 5-ish. You're free. You get in free to the Harley Davidson Museum if you are a racer and your name is on the list.
Okay. And then Thursday. Wait, what time is the thing? What time is the thing at Promises?
You can go, Ward. It's all right. Go ahead. We're going to finish this up. Thanks for coming.
We need a pee bottle in here.
What time is the show? Scott, you're asking a lot of questions, okay? What time are things? When it's organic.
The people out there in the world that want to know.
I know you want to know.
I don't even know when to go to Elwood's.
But when do you think a mini bike race would happen inside the world's smallest dirt track around a pool table inside a bar?
7:30.
That's what I think.
All right.
Now, if I say 7:30, this is what drives me absolutely fucking nuts. It's 7:30. Where's it? Why aren't you racing yet? Because there's one motorcycle here. Okay?
The only correct answer is, what time is it? It's at showtime.
You got to feel it. Are you feeling it? That's what I say. Are you feeling it right now? Because it's 7:30 and no one's here. So I don't know what time. You got to feel it.
All right.
But
Elwood's,
6 o'clock.
Is it really that early?
No, I don't know. No, I don't know. Elwood's, we can rip the top off, but the Harley Davidson Museum, we have to be out of there by 9. So I like to say get there by 5 if you're racing. Races will go 6 to 8, and we'll start cleaning up around 8, so we're out of there by 9.
Okay.
To go to Fuel.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening at Fuel. I think if I could brag for just a second, I think I planted some seeds years ago that you could put CBD in a leaf blower. You can put a burnout on a bar. You can have a punk band play. Let's see what they top out.
Was it just CBD?
It was CBD.
Or was CBN?
Yes. It was CBD-esque. Ode to CBD.
Well, anyway.
We'll tell that story another time. But then, of course, a Flat Out Friday is on Friday. I cannot manage parking. I'm already getting some questions about parking. I can't manage it. The city is not what it was 10 years ago. We are a major city, and despite what Scott says, the population is growing in the city. And so it's harder and harder to find places to park things. Last year, we did pay a person to drive people to the Harley Davidson Museum for parking, and no one used it.
That didn't work.
We had an auxiliary parking lot on campus from the fire service. The fire service said no one used it. So even with those unused spots, people found spots.
Right.
If we utilize what we have, we're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
We have a party at Boone and Crockett. And
No, what time does so the doors at Fiserv? What time do they open?
Well, for racers they open at 9.
What time if you're a
If you're
ticket holder?
a ticket holder, the doors open at 6. National anthem, I think at 6:45.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
And then and that night we're going to be at Boone and Crockett.
Is there a band?
There is a band, Poison Hand.
Okay.
Never heard them, but I already know what they sound like. Is that fair to say? I've already heard Poison Hand my whole life.
Harry Poison Hand.
And then, of course, the Mama Tried show. And I just noticed today that there is a Mama Tried happy hour on Saturday in the
At
evening
Koshansky's
at the
Concertina
Polka
Bar.
to get you a full.
Don't downplay it. We need enough people there where it's fun, but not so many that I
This
can't
is
get
true.
pierogies.
This
Okay,
is true.
don't come
Forget
to
about it. That party's
sucks.
been canceled.
That party's
Yeah,
lame.
Yeah.
And then at night we have a party at Iron Horse. Nothing to announce. No shattering things to announce because everything is the same. Basically the same bands, same DJs.
Is there a mini bike race at the Iron Horse?
There is a mini bike race at the Iron Horse. I saw some videos of that just recently online. It looked great.
Yeah, it
See the
did look
crowd
great.
standing in the center.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stoke. I wish I had the energy to be there.
What animal are they cooking up this year?
Oh, is it a
Rattlesnake?
kangaroo?
Crocodile?
Are they cooking up a kangaroo? I don't know what they're cooking up. Something that's
Something
borderline
exotic.
Yeah, borderline PETA angering. Like a condor.
God, oh, wait.
Bald eagle.
The wings are to die for. And then we have the show on Sunday
The
where
show
you can
on
see
Sunday,
Scott
10
will be
to
at
3,
church.
3 p.m. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when loadout starts and the push for the elevators.
Yeah. So everybody, right now, I want you to clap it up.
Thanks.
All
Thanks.
right.
Good job, everyone.